Welcome back to Spark Learning Session. Today we'll be talking about tree methods. It's a code along exercise that we'll be doing today. In this exercise, we'll be talking about three kinds of classifier: decision tree classifier, ZBD classifier, and random forest classifier. So let's get started. To get started, we'll start importing with find PySpark, and we'll locate where find PySpark is initialized. Then we'll import PySpark, and finally we'll create a session from the PySpark. Then we'll run this. It runs. Next step is to import the vector assembler and string assembler from ML features. This will import the two modules from ML features, vector assembler and string assembler. Secondly, we need to import three classifier from ML classification. Those are decision tree classifier, ZBT classifier, and random forest classifier. Next, we need to import evaluation. We need to import pipeline from ML library. And finally, we need to import evaluation, binary classifier, classification evaluator, and multi-classification evaluator from ML evaluation. Once we do that, we need to create an app for our Spark session. We name it. For this, we'll create Spark session dot builder, app name tree, get or create, and then we need to import the data in our Spark session. Spark dot read dot csv college dot csv header true, infer schema true. This is schema and read. It infers schema and read. Now let's run this. It's giving me error. Why is that? There's a problem here in this keyword. It should be O capital, get or create. Now let's run this again. There you go. It runs well. Now it's running. Let's move on to our next statement. We want to see what's inside the data. We want to see the print schema and check out what's inside the data we have just imported, and we'll see what's inside it. It has columns: school, private, accept, enroll, top 10%, top 25% to expend and graduation rate for each school. Now what we're trying to do here is we're trying to predict whether it's a private school or no based upon other features of the school. That's our business problem. Now let's see what's inside this data we have. Let's do head and take out one record what it may have and see. And we have it has a row. The first row it has is school at Albine Christian University, private, yes. Application around 1600. Accepted was 1200. Enrolled was 721, etc. Now it seems it has many columns. Now we want to create a feature, the feature vector. For that we need column names. The best way to get column name is to list out the columns from the data so that it is easier for us to copy and paste it. Now we'll list out the column names. Next step is to create a vector of features, and this will name it assembler. We'll assemble the feature vector. That's why it's called assembler. Assembler and vector assembler input columns. This includes the columns we want to be included in this feature vector, and it's going to be a vector, as I said earlier. Then this feature vector will be named as a column, features, output columns. Features. Now let's list out all the columns that we are interested in, and this will be application through create rate. These are all the columns we are interested in, and input column. It should be input calls, not in column, input calls, because it is more than one. That's why. Now it's working. Next step is to transform the input data into a dataset called output using an assembler. And we'll transform it. We'll simply transform it using a function called assembler we just created, and it will give us a data called output. Now let's see what this dataset has. Print schema and try to understand what does it have. It contains let's see what its output has. It has a feature vector that we are interested in. Now we have still one more problem. We are trying to predict private, but private is a string, yes or no. As you can see here, it is a yes or no. And regression problem cannot deal with yes or no. Therefore, since when we use regression classifier, it cannot deal with yes or no. That's why it has to be a numeric. For that, we'll be converting yes or no into a numeric format using a string indexer. For this, we'll be creating a function called indexer, which index the yes or no, string in the yes or no in a private column. A string indexer is a function which will take input column, private, and it will spit out a column, private index. There you go. Now we want to create a different data set where output column is fixed, and so we'll name it as a output underscore fixed, and it'll be indexer dot fit, and input will be output dataset dot transform output. It is giving me error. Why is that? It is giving me some error here. I'm going to figure out why is this happening here. Now it's working well. Let me quickly summarize what we did today. We worked on looking at a data set called college CSV, and the purpose we are looking at data is to predict the private column, which is the string column, and we are trying to predict this value based upon rest of the columns which will be using as a feature vectors. To do our prediction, we have to convert this private into a numeric using a string indexer, and we have to create a feature vector using assembler to do for prediction. And that's all we did today. Thank you so much. I will see you next learning session. Thank you.